Hello again, good afternoon to you. Welcome to Business. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has fixed a policy rate after its final meeting to review the economy. The policy committee maintained the rate at 16% and is expected to affect the cost of business. Let's hear what the governor of the central bank has been saying.
On inflation, the committee's view was that the pace of disinflation had slowed somewhat. The recent underlying inflation trends, gauged by the core inflation and weighted inflation expectations, all showed some uptick in August 2019. This gives some indications of emerging pressures coming mainly from the recent upward adjustment of utility tariffs, export prices, and transport fares. The second round effects of these measures would have to be monitored closely over the next quarter. The fiscal situation remains a concern, and strengthened efforts would be needed to close the deficit gap. The committee was concerned about the continued revenue weakness, which requires expenditure adjustments to contain a larger than projected budget deficit. It will help underpin investor confidence in the Ghanaian economy and reduce the burden on monetary policy. Global conditions and inflation developments at home have created some policy space for monetary policy, which, however, cannot be exploited in the current circumstances. Looking ahead, it is expected that the full implementation of new tax measures will likely impact revenue performance in the last quarter to help achieve the fiscal deficit target set for the year. Under the circumstances, the committee has decided to keep the monetary policy rate at 16%.
We'll bring you more on that shortly on the marketplace. Meanwhile, government says it feels vindicated by recent reports by the Economist Intelligence Unit on management of the country's economy. The September country report on Ghana noted that this administration could win the next elections because of its safe pair of hands to manage the economy. It, however, raised concerns about possible budget overruns this year. But speaking to Joy Business, Deputy Minister of Finance Abna Osei-Esare says measures have already been instituted to deal with any potential overruns.
And it is obvious we inherited a government or an economy that had missed a lot of the IMF targets that they themselves set with the IMF. Here we are, 2-3 years down the line, we are out of the IMF, and then we have put checks and balances in place to see to it that we don't go back to, the IMF. One is with the Fiscal Responsibility Act, where we have Parliament has passed a law that we can't go beyond 5% of our deficit. All these things helps us, puts us in check. Secondly, we have formed partnership, that's the social partnership with labor, employers and governments, that here we are, we believe we can be our own IMF, we can act as a check on ourselves. Let us come up with targets and policies that together we will work to achieve this. And once we achieve this, we believe we can be our own IMF, we can act as a check on ourselves. And finally, the Ghana Beyond Aid transformation that government is looking to achieve. One, through industrialization, agric, and all these things, certainly in the long run, will put Ghana's economy in a better position. And so it is this government, that's the MPP government headed by the President Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is spearheading these things. So certainly in the long run, things are going to be better.
Finally, before we leave, the GDP estimate growth. Yesterday, we had good figures from there. We realized the services sector was driving up massively. Do you think there should be an over-concentration in the services sector to do well in the coming years and leave out the other sectors?
I think that there should be a balance, and that is why, like my minister said, that the 2020 budget is going to be on industrialization, because after growing the services sector, we would need to industrialize to firm things up. We cannot only depend on the services sector. One, we're already working on the agric sector through the Plan for Food and Jobs. Thankfully, the whole of last year, Ghana didn't import maize as a result of this policy that has come in and has increased yields so much. And so 2020 is going to focus on industrialization, just like my minister said. So there should be a balance.
And that's all for now. Bringing you more business shortly on the marketplace. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. We have it back to Daniel.
Thanks, Emmanuel. And up next is Baba Tando with the latest in sports.